A prominent master of the ancient Jedi Order on Tython, Rajivari was a veteran of the Despot War and survived a devastating Rakatan invasion before witnessing a civil war erupt among his own people. Though the Jedi were dedicated to seeking balance between the light and dark sides of the Force, years of war and violence destroyed this harmony and divided the Order in two. After siding with the light side faction, defeating the Darksiders and banishing them from Tython, Rajivari became a founding member of the new, light side Jedi Order and even had a hand in creating the original Jedi archives. Yet this well-respected master held grand ambitions and expansionist views, believing the Jedi should conquer the galaxy and lead them into a golden age of peace and prosperity. When his ideas were outright rejected by the High Council, he resigned from the Order in protest and dedicated himself to destroying the Jedi leadership to reform their beliefs. Taking his students and supporters to Caliph, the ancient temple city of knowledge, he delved deeper into dark side teachings and created the principles of Rajivari by which his followers must live. Eventually, the Jedi laid siege to the temple, defeated the cult and killed their leader, but his spirit refused to become one with the Force, remaining on Tython to look after the Fount of Rajivari, the original Jedi archives he helped create, in the hopes it might one day be found by a worthy heir and apprentice who might realize his dream of reforming the Jedi Order. Though most of his principles were lost, 3 survived and read as follows. All life is a battle, even to the last breath. Showing mercy to an enemy creates a spiral of destruction. Sacrificing your strength is the path of a fool. Possibly founded by Vahl, a powerful female Force user who created their order on a long-lost homeworld, the Ember of Vahl was a depraved, sadistic cult that came to worship their first leader as the goddess Vahl, who was the embodiment of the dark side. Growing large enough to be considered a threat, the Jedi of the Old Republic waged a war to wipe them out, forcing the survivors to abandon their homeworld and scatter across the galaxy, becoming nomadic mercenaries, pirates, thieves, and bounty hunters. Yet the cult could not be killed, and the survivors continued to worship Vahl under the authority of the Chosen, a council of 6 high priests who scarred their body to show devotion. Surviving beyond the fall of the Republic, the Ember of Vahl eagerly allied with the Empire to help hunt down Jedi after Order 66, at long last exacting vengeance for all they lost. Founded on a long-forgotten world of the Outer Rim, populated by a short, stocky, bipedal race with a natural affinity towards the Force, their people created 2 opposed civilizations, with the Lightsiders quickly falling to the violent aggression of the Darksiders. Though a light side minority continued to exist in hiding, most fell under the authority of the 6 most powerful dark side priests, worshipped as gods. These dark masters demanded war and violence to satiate their bloodlust, ordering the sacrifice of living beings on a daily basis. For 2,000 years, the cult thrived, building great stepped pyramids and temples, while primarily targeting captured enemies, subversives, or lightsiders for their sacrifices, though they also chose from among their own people through a lottery system if no others were available. All these people were killed by the Force upon a holy altar, which grew so infused with dark side energy it started trapping the souls of those who died, preventing them from becoming one with the Force. Among those sacrificed and trapped were 100 Lightsiders like Master Ziktoff, who spent their lives fighting against the Dark Masters. In the end, their aggressive, violent civilization collapsed from a brutal civil war and rebellion that left everyone dead. However, due to the immense powers of the 6 Dark Priests, they survived as wraiths haunting the planet, with their life force tied to the energy of the sacrificial altar. In time, a few Jedi discovered and landed on the planet, only to be killed by those wraiths. A few years after that, a group of adventurers arrived on the planet and were contacted by the spirit of Master Ziktoff, along with the 99 other Lightsiders trapped in the altar. After explaining the situation, the adventurers managed to destroy the wraiths and altar, liberating all those trapped within. An ancient dark side cult inspired by Sith teachings, knowledge from the Heresiarchs ended up in the hands of Darth Sidious after he conquered the galaxy, mentioning them alongside organizations like the Krath of the Great Sith War, and incorporated their teachings into his compendium of dark side lore. Born the son of wealthy nobles, Colin Islow was a bored, restless young man who delved into dark side teachings to seek thrills and adventure. Gathering followers among the other bored children of aristocrats, he eventually learned of the Sith Order and grew determined to join their ranks, using his family's money to purchase Sith artifacts and relics, in addition to sponsoring archaeological digs. Forming the Apex Society, Colin was devastated when he finally realized he was not Force-sensitive, but found hope when he learned about the Mask of Darth Nihilus, which legends claimed could grant Force powers. Ordering the Apex Society to find the mask, their leader promised that once he gained Force powers, he would become their Sith Master. As the rumors and legends about Colin multiplied, some of his followers started to believe he was guided by the spirits of great Sith from the past, even referencing the likes of Darth Revan and Darth Plagueis. Regardless, the Apex Society at last tracked their target to the planet Volek before embarking on a mission to find the Mask of Nihilus so their revered leader might fulfill his destiny of becoming a Sith Lord. Founded by a group of dark-side Force adepts, the Sable Dawn criminal organization had many members with no idea their leadership was Force-sensitive. Engaging in bounty hunting, assassinations, and terrorism, the Sable Dawn were willing to take nearly any job in the pursuit of wealth and power. Following leaders like Virik Zahn, a Force adept who specialized in telekinesis, they had little fear of consequence, even involving themselves in the internal struggles of other cartels, like when they were hired to assassinate the Hutt crime lord Torello Angiliac, so he might be replaced by Zieta Angiliac. The Sable Dawn were also collectors of Force artifacts, spending many resources to acquire the Fel Star ancient relic, rumored to be a Sith talisman. Founded on the burial moon of Kolma, orbiting the planet Bogdan, the Bando Gora dark-side death cult grew into a powerful criminal organization within the galactic underworld, training expert assassins so skilled they could sometimes defeat Jedi Knights. Growing bold in their attacks, they struck at the planet Baltazar, prompting the Order to send a team of Jedi for its liberation. Yet they greatly underestimated the danger posed by these cultists, resulting in a disaster with many Jedi killed or captured. Among the imprisoned was Komari Vosa, the powerful former Padawan of Count Dooku, who killed 20 Mandalorians in the Battle of Galadran. Subjected to vicious tortures, her mind eventually snapped and fell to the dark side, erupting in a torrent of violence that killed both her captors and her fellow captives. Taking charge of the entire organization, Komari Vosa became High Priestess of the Bando Gora, bringing them to new heights of power and influence in the criminal underworld. Allying with other cartels, the Bando Gora introduced a new form of highly addictive death sticks which corrupted the user's body, allowing a Force wielder like Vosa to take control of their minds, enslaving them to her will. And while this scheme did much for their strength and reputation, it also caught the attention of the Sith Order under Darth Plagueis and his apprentice Darth Sidious. Though Plagueis felt them relatively insignificant, Sidious disagreed, and when he finally killed his master to take charge of the Order, decided to end the Bando Gora once and for all. Assigning his apprentice Darth Tyrannus to the task, the Sith Lord already knew Vosa's location and could have ended her at any time, but held back in the hopes she might one day become an ally. Yet now that the order was given, he decided to use the mission as an opportunity to further their Sith goals. Seeking to grow a clone army on Kamino, the Sith wanted to base their DNA on that of the best warrior they could find, and so Dooku contacted a number of famous bounty hunters, offering 5 million credits for the Dark Jedi, dead or alive. Taking the job, Jango Fett won the contest, defeating Komari Vosa in her Citadel on the moon Kolma, but ultimately spared her life. Darth Tyrannus, however, then appeared behind him and choked Vosa to death with the Force, before explaining the purpose of the contest and offering Fett the chance to become the model and trainer for their clone army. He accepted on the condition the first clone they created was left unaltered and given over to his charge. Without Komari Vosa, the Bando Gora lost their influence and never again rose to power. A special thanks to all those who contribute to Civilization X, like Sir Darren of House Ashford, Fred Heartless, Knight of Iron and Ice, Ishmam Ahmed of Shamidiana, and Pete J. King. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/civilizationx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.